Hey, how's it going? This is Daniel Lurson, and this is the Phase 2 implementation. I want to discuss about stakeholders of my own company, known as DCL Pool Service, and dealing with materials and supplies and clientele are solely the stakeholders within my business because I am the only one that runs my business. And I have a route of many clientele that I service. There's an article and a suggestion that its managers are increasingly depicted as playing an important role in ensuring positive social change through the brokering of stakeholder relationships. Since I'm the owner of DCL Pool Service, and I only support the residential aspects and not the commercial, although I do carry a license to do commercial, I just don't want to deal with all of the volumes of gallons of water and the chemicals and just all that headache. I'm kosher with sticking with residential for sure. The materials and supply store that I deal with on a weekly basis has everything I need to ensure a successful completion of my week. It houses all my equipment and supplies that I need and gives fair prices as well than any other retail stores. If I were to go on like Amazon don't even house all the chemicals that I need. If you go into regular retail stores, they kind of overprice and the chemicals aren't really that good. So I'm glad that I get to deal personally with a pool store with fair prices as well. Ideally, I want to expand locally because I'm spread out way too far at the moment. And the route that I got from from one of my old bosses, he unfortunately spread himself too thin. And I wanted to take over the route, get the route. So I had to gain all the clients that were south. So the goal is to expand locally where I'm at with different geographics and not spread myself too thin and go further south into different counties. My clientele are loyal, the ones that I've acquired down south, which I had to in order to continue the business as its success goes on, and I gain more locally, then I can just sell off the southern clientele. Route planning is a huge expense when it comes to drive times as well, communication issues as well as environmental issues. Efficient route planning is a great way to save on gas, time, and work. Communication issues should be a non-existent because one should create labels within emails. I use my Gmail, not my personal, but I have my company email, and I have labels. So, for instance, I use this Pool Track app, and when I check in and check out, and all the chemicals that are stated, and everything that I've done as far as maintenance on the pools, it will email not only myself, but it emails the customer as well. So they have the check-ins and check-outs and all that of what I'm doing with their pool. Highly integratable, highly efficient for both parties. Google Sheets is really good, keeping track of messages in general. I utilize the Google Sheets labels again for email. I pay attention to the forums as well for reviews. You have to keep up with people. You have to respond. Communication for sure. Better drive times result with more clientele to expand with. Therefore, adding more to my day, which means more cash flow for the business. So if right now I'm at 30, so if I were to expand locally and sell off the southern clients and grow to potentially 60 is what I would call it, because that'd be only how much I can handle. And when you break it up in the 5 days of the week. Environmental issues can happen with more chemical intake than usual. For instance, this can result from soil. People usually have pottings of soil around their deck, flowers, all that stuff. Fertilizers, obviously there's blackout periods within the year that pest control or whomever can't use fertilizers, but that can blow into the pool, debris from the outside coming in or on the screens, leaves and dirt, which can result with algae blooms, and phosphates in the pool as well. With phosphate, that just means I have to put a 24-hour timer and I have to come back or schedule in on the next day's routes to fit them in to go back to correct their timer, clean their filter if so, and check the phosphates and see phosphates eat the chlorine, therefore algae blooms. But if it's just algae, usually I could just get away with just treating it right then and there with added chemical and dosage, and it'll usually clear up in a couple days or if not sooner. An article suggested the efficiency of pool covers. The initial installation price of a cover, the pool owner can be assured that it is actually going to pay for itself over a number of years. He also says more pool owners are willing to pay higher prices for automatic options because a pool cover is one of the rare items in pool equipment that actually pays itself over time with energy and savings. So you have that, but also evaporation accounts for 50% of the of water being dissipated out of the pool, which can down the chemicals as well, which putting more excess of rain can add problems to the pool as well. Efficient mapping geographically for sure. Again, MapQuest is really good with that. Google Earth is really good with that as well. Setting boundaries for scheduled calls and answering, cutting drive times and chemicals utilized. Staying localized is ideally the plan for my business. That's what I want to do. Therefore, staying around the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, or Northport area in the Florida here will ensure maximum benefit of gas savings, wear and tear on the vehicle as well, and cut expenses ultimately is ideally the goal. You want to be positive in cash flow and positive all over the board. If you are negative, then you want to obviously positive wants to exceed the negative. Negative is a result of expenses. However, keeping the clientele that are farther south from me are beneficial to me due to loyalty. But one thing is that I do not want to do is go under in a business, nor do I want to be at the break-even point, because after 3 years of not making money, the government considers you a hobby and they'll just shut you down and, you just lose money. Can't be losing money. I want to be successful, not in the hole with my ventures in life. Setting boundaries is ideal for the clientele and myself due to respect and integrity when it comes to phone calls and emails throughout the day. Creating this ambience will make for a conscious effort by all parties involved. I respect my privacy, or I respect my clientele and time. It's all about time management. So chemicals and materials can be costly, but making sure the chemistry is on point makes for a cheap expense. Understanding how the pool works and functions, all the valves and everything, all the components involved, and making sure my diligence is kept up with the maintenance as well, makes for nothing but positive cash flow and not negative due to expenses exceeding the profits. Communications plans, of course, we always have to have very concise, cogent communication with your clientele. They need to understand what's going on. Even if they don't understand, you need to break it down into simple terms and not pool jargon. So effective emails with invoices and agreements. Pool Track app is very highly efficient. I love that app. Very, very acceptable in the pool industry. And phone calls. So utilizing QuickBooks is the simplest way to manage my small business, and due to partnering with Intuit, which happens to be the platform TurboTaxes use. Therefore, a very transparent process with tax deductions and tracking data. An article stated that the enhanced partnership will add advanced bill payment and workflow automation capabilities for QuickBooks Online, advanced customers as part of Intuit's application ecosystem, in addition to continued support for the simple bill pay service in QuickBooks Online. I can send all my invoices and tracking information with QuickBooks. It's wonderful. My transactions monitors personally. You link up your bank accounts. It's wonderful, fluid, very transparent for sure. So an app that houses great features and perfect interaction with maintaining days and clientele all in one is known as Pool Track. And it specifically checks in and out with the clientele, notifying them via email of all the chemicals and maintenance I perform that particular day with the pools, which is really good. I could take pictures too, not only for my insurance purposes for me, so I don't get sued. Personal, that's why general liability is highly recommendable. Definitely need it. So no one can pierce the veil per se. But if damage was present, then I have photos for proof. These days, it's all about social proof. It's all about proof, credibility, right? So I always need to make sure that I am persistent with phone calls from clientele and future clients, making sure that I contact one as soon as possible, creating boundaries with timeframes, and getting back to one and myself ensures privacy, integrity, and respect. So just for timeline, critical path components of improvement, we got local expansion cogent. That should be over here. Sorry, let's wait this saved. Actually, now it has to save it so I can move it. Anyways, it says local expansion, cutting drive times, and cogent is over here with communications. I don't feel like saving that right now. Google Earth can help with honing in on certain neighborhoods with pools as well, as MapQuest perfectly route out clientele for efficient savings on time and gas. Moreover, making more money is the ideal game. Therefore, gaining local ground will alleviate the expenses of driving all over 3 counties, as of what I do right now. Communication will be the breaking point with continued services, because it is all about making the client happy with the services and being able to convey the problem effectively when occurred. And in a nutshell, it's basically being on point with everything when it comes from receipts, making sure that, checking QuickBooks every day, and just being diligent every day and not slipping up, because when a slip up occurs, and you start losing business, and that's never a good thing. The goal is to keep business and to keep growing as a business, ideally.